Poor Mr. Black Lives Matter and other knee benders. Make no mistake, I pity you. How tragic, this revolution of yours without any new ideas. You say the world discriminates against you. Well, I want to ask you something about that. The world, the whole world, discriminates for you, and still you feel the need to go on television and vandalize and burn and shoot and kick and hit and strip and defecate in the streets. Is that why you, Mr. Black Lives Matter, insist on less policing? How sad that your idea of good policing is imprisoning women for hate speech on your fragile ego. How terrible for you, really, that you have to insist on laws that compel others to love you. Come on. How sad for you that you may ruin other people's statues while you cannot erect anything historical in its place. How reprehensible that you have to insist on laws that compel others to employ you, to trust you. Have you no shame? You and I both know that white privilege, white monopoly capital, white fragility, those are merely code words for the paralysis is maybe a little hard word. Isolation of your ancestors. Have you ever thought of blaming your ancestors for anything? I blame my ancestors all the time. Do you know why? Because my ancestors aren't gods. How condescending that there are sets of rules for you that mitigate your crimes because of history, as if history didn't happen to anyone else. Until the late modern era, Mrs. Black Lives Matter, 90% of humans were mostly peasants or at least slaves. What makes you history's only victim? How sad for you that you cannot admit to white slaves throughout history. You cannot admit to North African slavery right now. Where are you, Black Lives Matter? You, Mrs. Black Lives Matter, may not admit to any of these because it weakens your claims, and then you might just get less of other people's money, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? How hypocritical of you to shout Black Lives Matter without acknowledging that South African farm murders are an almost exclusive black-on-white epidemic. What a sad miscalculation when black murders worldwide is a black-on-black epidemic. How humiliating that there is almost no white-on-black rape rate, because if there were, mainstream media in my country would talk about nothing else. How sad that you confuse the fear in the eyes of a bludgeoned 82-year-old grandmother for respect. How do you feel when you may transport 10 passengers in a taxi, while I may not visit that granny in intensive care? How desperate for you to have to accept that blacks, and blacks only, cannot be racist. Come on. Ma'am, you, the beneficiary of Black Lives Matter, have you ever wondered why nations aren't envious of you and why your children flock to other countries? Not? Maybe you should. How damning, Mr. Black Lives Matter, that the best you can offer the modern world is to keep terrorist organizations in power, be it the Black Lives Matter or be it the ANC. How sad to remove statues of the founders of universities and civilizations from a time when your ancestors showed no need for literacy. How shameless are you to purify museums of items from a time when your ancestors could offer museums absolutely nothing. The word didn't even exist for them. How devastating that you just can't get it right with all media, all race laws, all schools, all universities, all taxes, all woke whites, all snowflakes, all governments, all constitutions, and all of Hollywood in your back pocket. How sad to think that we will forget this if you delete our symbols and flags and statues and street and city names. How embarrassing that you need white celebrities, artists, footballers, cricketers to tell you that you matter. Please say you can see through that. Tell me you saw how Black Lives Matter destroyed unity in sport in less than 24 hours. How low your expectations, Mr. Black Lives Matter, that you can't breathe unless I apologize for being white. How false are you to spit and scream about racism when no laws discriminating against blacks exist anywhere on the planet. How pretentious to scream at cameras about it when marginalized groups have never been more free than today. How shameful that you scream Black Lives Matter when you know that any number of laws against whites exist right now. Look away, Black Lives Matter. Look away. How sad for you that you happily accept jobs, scholarships and grades where others actually qualified. How mortifying for you that pass rates are lowered for you until you pass. How frustrating that you can never again be judged on merit for as long as they are reparations and black economic empowerment ratings. How does it feel to have to shamelessly flock to countries and schools and systems you so despise? Siya Kolisi. It's not that Mesopotamia invented reading and writing. It's not even that your ancestors never did. It's that you want to blame others for it. It's not other nations and races invented the wheel. It's not even that your ancestors never did. It's this need of yours to punish excellence, to feel better about yourselves. How goddamn awful that all this preferential procurement is actually your idea of equality. In fact, your idea of discrimination. How tragic that these words made you angry with those who want to hold you to the standards they hold for themselves. I know your answer to this. Racist? How ungrateful you are that resentment defines you and not pride. You have so much to be proud of. This is what you are kneeling to, Graham Franchot and Fuff. Terror, witchcraft, fascism, favoritism, celebrating black people's dependence on you. This is how you treat inferior people. Well, I won't. This I promise you. I bow to only one God. And if you ever extend this condescending hand to my people, we will slap it away with the contempt it deserves.